and he knew him too. So there you go. Anyway, this month we have Linda, and she has a very long bio, and it would take up most of her time for the presentation if I would let you know everything about her. So suffice it to say, there are a few key things. Of course, she's Dr. Linda because she has a D.M.A. from USC. She studied piano there with Bernardine Blaha. More on that in a minute. Wow. More recent thing, well, actually, I'll say she started with my old pal, Christy Eberhardt Stewart, now Dolan. Those of you who knew her, she was a gas. Anyway, CM was never the same after she stopped being there. Anyway, Linda went on, got a couple of other degrees, then at USC got her D.M.A. She's been a member of the MTAC since the 1980s. Recent accomplishments. Currently has 4 panel students, 2 are doing YAG, over 30 of them doing CM this year of all levels, that's insane. Recipient of 4 gold medals this year for the Royal Conservatory, and recognized for being the best in California and Hawaii in the Royal Conservatory Celebration of Excellence recital last month for 2020. Numerous first-class honors with distinction recipients, also recognized at the RCM Celebration of Excellence recital in January of 2020. The first 2 years of doing RCM, she was certified for all levels, and the RCM levels 5 to 10 theory scores have been in the high 90s. Forgive me if I butcher the names. Sean Georgie, Artist of the Future student, just got accepted into the Berklee College of Music in Boston with a full scholarship. Joseph Gavednik, senior at Peninsula High, is the current president of MSSL. Arjun Kool is the president and founder of the arjunandfriends.com student volunteer group. Please follow her on Twitter and Instagram. She's currently writing a book called The Map to help facilitate teachers in analyzing Bach fugues. I'll have to get it because besides Sudoku, analyzing a Bach fugue is one of my favorite things in life. And then I just saved this for last, since she's doing a presentation on teaching theory. She studied theory under Morton Lauridsen at USC, National Medal of Arts recipient and a distinguished professor of composition at USC. So he was there when I was there, in fact.
Yeah,
so,
he's very celebrated. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
What I love about Morton is he did not need to teach freshman theory, but he felt that it was a necessity to teach freshman theory. He felt that was, yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, he was great. He must be really pretty old now, but anyway.
Yeah, he just finished up, I think they celebrated 50 years of him being a professor there or something.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. So, yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, I think we still need to go on to old business, though.
Oh, okay.
But we're going to come back to this. So let me, I'm going to stop recording just for a second so that we could put this on our website for everyone. I'm recording the program right now. So we're going to go on to our Certificate of Merit workshop. And I'm just going to put up my documents so that you can see them. If you have a question, please just say something, because I'm just going to keep talking until until someone says, I have a question, okay? Because I have you on a different gallery view. All right, so these are my notes. I'm going to try to go a little fast because we have less than 45 minutes, and I really want to give you as much information as I can. I tried to limit this program to levels 1 through 4, since I really feel that the early students and the early development of students is really, really important. And I think most of us have more beginning students than we do advanced students. So that's where I'm going to concentrate on this morning. Okay, so basically these are notes that I can send to everybody. This was from the last workshop. I tell my students, you know, be legible when writing music theory. If you cannot read it and understand it, the grader cannot understand it. Be clear. Now, online, the theory test is basically multiple choice. They're not drawing anything. So it's a little different, but you should always have them work on paper. The MTAC has years of previous tests that you can purchase from them. Every year I purchase last year's test. Now, I don't know if you can purchase last year's test since it was online, but it's worth a try. I haven't checked. I don't think it's possible because I think the bookstore is closed in the MTAC. I don't think they're sending things out. But in the past, you could buy previous tests, and I have the tests from, gosh, 1996, you know.
I called them. And nobody's allowed in the room where the tests are.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
no, they will not send them to you. No.
They won't. Okay, thank you, Jan, for that. So anyway, whether or not you can still find a test or give them worksheets that you provide, but they have to be clear in what they're writing. I always tell the students, read the directions 3 times. Basically, I have a story about USC that I told last year to everyone about how I didn't read a question for a test at USC and I answered 10 out of 10 and the professor wanted me to answer 3 out of 10 and I answered 10 out of 10 thinking I'm a hot shot, but I didn't even read the directions and he gave me an F because I didn't answer 3 out of 10. And so you really need to read the directions and you need to read them 3 times. When grading your students, never write in the correct answer. Make them work for it. Simply marking the wrong answer, then having them try and figure it out. That's simply mark it wrong and then have them figure it out. Always give them a follow-up question and make it more challenging each time. Practice tests should be given until the student starts to achieve over 80% each time. My suggestion would be to begin practice in January. The average test per student should be 5 minimum. So basically I give each student 5 tests. The last test in their theory books, now I don't know if all of you are using the Julie Johnson theory books, but the last test is one of those tests. And so I make sure that they take that as a test. I have them time it, even though the test is not timed. However, this one I think is timed. Correct, Asuka? I think it is a timed test.
Yes, it's timed.
Okay, but in the past it hadn't been timed. So you basically will have an idea of how long it's taking these kids to take a practice test if you have them time it and put it on the top of their test. Perfect Ear app. I mean, this app is amazing. It's online. It's free. You can get tested on major, minor triads, intervals, all the way up, including major, minor, diminished, augmented. It is a great app. I use it all the time for Royal Conservatory. And basically, the new tests now, the new MTAC tests that you purchase do not have the ear training tests on them. So I'm going to go over how to find out what's on the MTAC ear training tests and how you can use the Perfect Ear app. It takes 5 minutes at each lesson and they love it and it's really fun for them to do. Circle of Fifths is critical for Circle of Certificate of Merit survival, even at the lower levels. I talked about that at our last workshop, but I'm going to talk about how you can utilize that even at the prep level. Have them start with the Circle of Fifths before each test. and do not accept the test until they've drawn the circle of fifths and check their answers with it. Page 1 of each test should have 0 errors if they're taught to use the circle. Page 2 of most levels average about 14 to 17 wrong until all the concepts are clear. I'm going to talk about that too. That mostly starts at level 3, 4, and 5. Rests are neglected in CM theory testing. Supplement with Royal Conservatory theory books, and I have some in this packet that we'll look at. Signs and terms use Quizlets. I don't know if all of you are familiar with Quizlets, but it's amazing. I'm gonna show you what Quizlets look like and how you can use this. So okay, so you can go here to Quizlets. You can look up CM prep level, let's say, terms. Okay, here's level 6. We can use level 6. There are several people that have already put in different terms. You could do violin, CM, okay, so we'll do this one, CM level 7 terms. Let's see if I could open this up. And basically you can use, these are flashcards. You could just press that and go to the next flashcard, prestissimo, as fast as possible, animato, animated with spirit. All of them are useful. I love the matching game. Basically I make them match, half cadence, 5-1, they have to do that and it disappears. It's a really...
Is this a website or?
It's a website. It's called Quizlet.com. Most students know this because that's what teachers use for like history and different things. And you're timed and you can beat other people's times. And every time you turn it on to matching, new terms come up. It's an amazing tool. Yes.
Does it cost anything for the students?
It's free, but you can upgrade to get different things. But I love it because I either make my students do all the signs and terms on here themselves or they use others, but it's basically free if you go online and just start, searching, So I actually use that during their lesson. If I'm teaching online, I'll switch to it, and they can't drag because it's on my browser. Even if I ask to share the screen, they can't do it, but they can tell me which ones go together and I can drag it to them, and it's really fun for them and they love it, and you don't have to work so hard.
So when they're on Quizlet, what do they search for to find that?
It's just on there. The search button is right on the, let me see if I could get back to Quizlet so you could see.
Just search for music.
You just
What do they search for?
See this search thing? Well, you could just put certificate of merit.
Okay.
Certificate of merit, and then all of these different levels come up.
Okay.
All right, so it's just, if they have certificate of merit level 7 flute. A lot of these have a lot of terms, like 78 terms, 147 terms, because CM is cumulative. Remember, if you're in level 7, you have to know prep through 7 terms. It's not just level 7 terms, right? But just these are things, these are just suggestions. Once you start to search, you'll see what to do. Okay? All right, going on. Answer discrepancies. Have a standard. Basically, CM, after reading their guidelines, they will basically accept pretty much anything, like a capital B, a lowercase m, a lowercase b, a lowercase m. They will accept anything, but I always, have a standard. I personally, let me just write this in here so you can see. I really like the Royal Conservatory method. I think it's incredibly effective to write capital B, lowercase major, and also if you are doing minor, it's capital B with lowercase minor. That is the Royal Conservatory way, and I teach that way. B minor is accepted and taught at RCM. B diminished or B augmented, that's what you do. But for key signatures, it's basically, you know, like this for Royal Conservatory, but I like to teach this for CM because the CM books, like the Julie Johnson books, do this. However, you know, at CM, they'll basically accept whatever you write, you know. I tend to teach this way. C major, C minor, C diminished, C augmented, capital. You can look at that a little later. I'm going to try to get through this fast because we already went through this on the first workshop and I want to get to actual tests for CM. These are all acceptable when grading CM, okay? But I don't agree with all of that. However, when answering questions at RCM, answers for any key related questions, this is what they accept. However, it's this that you're supposed to write for RCM, not the capital M or the capital M for minor.
So the what's in red?
Yes, for the ones in red, that's what's accepted. Answers for intervals should be abbreviated MAJ3, PER4. Basically, they will accept anything at CM. I tell the students, because for years I've told them, you know, you really need to be clear. Let me just see if I could put this here. That if you are saying major third, it's capital M. If you are saying minor third, it's lowercase m.
Exactly.
But a lot of the kids don't know how to write lowercase m's, and then they get the answer wrong. I know now with it being online, it's going to be pretty clear, but I really love the Royal Conservatory way because it's very clear. MAJ3, PER4. They also have DIM3, you know, AUG. It's all lowercase. It's really clear, and it's accepted that way and taught in the Royal Conservatory books that way. Okay, we're going to keep going. Root quality chord symbols. Basically, in Royal Conservatory, it's a capital C, you know, and then capital C with a lowercase m. When you look at pop music, let's say, that's what the guitar chords show. That's how you determine guitar chords. And this is what they're called root quality chord symbols. Not really a CM thing, but good to know. Like for dominant 7 here, in a pop book, it would be, it would be like, for Royal Conservatory, C7. That would be a dominant 7. All right, problems with M versus M, be clear. Our studio standard, and I went over this, so I'm not going to talk about it. Teaching 1, 4, 5, and 5, 7. Both major and minor. I'm going to go over this a little bit later, but when you write the one, you know, for CM, you have to have the lines over and under, like this. Sorry, I can't do it here. For major, right? And that should be taught as well to the students. Sorry, I couldn't do that. Yeah, sorry. And for dominant 7 also, it should be like that. I also put the line here because Mr. Lauritsen told me that that would be the best thing to do, but CM doesn't need to, you don't need that for CM, but that's how I do it. Yeah, primary triads, 1, 4, 5, secondary triads. I have the kids write this out 10 times because this is particularly hard for them. Also remembering the minor keys, so I have them write this, just this, 10 times. You know, write your primary triads and secondary triads, just the Roman numerals, 10 times. When teaching Secondary dominants, you say blank of blank, which is this term in itself is a secondary dominant. You know it's going to be 5 of something. Now, if it's 5 of 2, what do you think this is going to be? 2. If it's 5 of 3, what's this going to be? 3. If it's 5 of 6, what's this going to be? 6. I mean, you have to teach them, you know, how that works. This of this is the same as this, right? It's the same. Same, same, same. It's just a different way of writing it, but it's exactly the same thing for a secondary dominant. So they have to decide if this first one is in an inversion, it could be, and it doesn't have to be a dominant 7. It could be a 5-6 or a 5-6-4, but whatever it's coming from, this and this are the same Roman numeral. All right? We're going to get into writing the sharps and flats in order. It's a really important skill. They need to do it 10 times and then they'll do it forever. I've included a worksheet in here that I used for them, and they need to do that right away when they're learning the circle of fifths. It's the first thing that they learn. Writing scales under the use of circle of fifths is an important test-taking strategy. That's what I'm going to go over today. No fractions. CM will accept a fraction for key signatures, but they will not accept a fraction for figured base. Either one is not a fraction. It's not a good thing to teach. The minute I see that, I say it's just not a fraction. So it's 3/4 time without the line in between. Okay, going on. These are all the numbers for teaching 7th chords, dominant 7th chords. If you don't know this, this is a huge plus for a kid who is constantly worried about not knowing what the numbers are for first inversion, second inversion, third inversion. This is root position, this is first inversion, this is second inversion, and this is third. Okay, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. All you have to do is do that. Put the lines in between, and they're clear on the dominant 7s or any 7th. This is a root position triad, FAC. Underneath the F, write 5-3, because if the chord, if you're looking at chords and analyzing chords in the music, basically the chord can be, you know, distributed, the notes can be distributed in any order on any staff. However, the lower note tells you what the inversion is and what, you know, if it's in root or first or second. Basically, if the lowest note is the root, then it's 5-3. If the lowest note is A in the FAC chord, then it's either a 6-3 or a 6. And if it's C that's on the bottom, it's 6-4. This is the easiest way to teach that. If it's a dominant 7, you could say if F is on the bottom, then it's 7-5-3. If A is on the bottom, it's 6-5 or 6-5-3. If C is on the bottom, it's 4-3 or 6-4-3. And if it's E flat on the bottom, it's 4-2 or 2 or 6-4-2. Now, can this be left out of a dominant 7? Yes. Can the root be left out? No. Can the third be left out? No. Can the 7th be left out? No. The only one that can be left out is the 5th. Okay. Intervals, an interval chart, an accidental chart. I have my students practice drawing an interval chart, which is really important. They need to know first what a major scale is. Okay, this is a major scale in interval form, right? And they need to know all of that. Now, the second thing they need to know is if the interval is raised, what is it? It's augmented all across the board. Augmented third, augmented fourth, augmented fifth, augmented sixth, augmented seventh, augmented 8. Sorry, 8. So they have to draw this every time on their test so that they remember what it is. If it's minor, now, if a major is lowered, it becomes minor. But if a perfect is lowered, it becomes what?
Diminished.
Diminished. So they learn this, and they put this down here so that they remember. I like to put these two diminished down one step so that they understand that perfects don't lower to minor, right? And then the last line would be, you know, minors get lowered to diminished. Sorry, this is a second. Sorry, second. And this is a third. Sorry. This is 3. Okay, and then over here, I have them draw that. And that's their interval chart. Their accidental chart that they need to learn is, you know, a double flat, a flat, a natural, which I don't think I have on here. I can't draw it for you, but the natural sign. And then they also have a sharp and a double sharp, and they need to learn this chart. And I have them draw that 10 times because that's what they learn when they learn intervals. So if it's like D to F sharp, then that's a major. If it's D to F, they take this sharp and they go down this way, right? Now, if it's let's say it's F to B natural. What interval is that? F to B natural.
Perfect 4?
B natural? No. F
No,
bottom.
augmented.
So
Yeah.
a lot of kids, what they do is they don't realize that when it goes from a sharp to a natural, that's, you know, sorry, from a flat to a natural, that's augmented. They don't realize that. That's the biggest mistake in the higher levels, like level 10, level 9, level 8. All right, we're going to keep going. STEM direction should be taught. It's taught very early on, like level 1 Royal Conservatory theory books. Basically, the third line, the STEM will either go up or down. And then it also teaches you groups of direction, and that should be taught very early on. So we'll go over that. Terms, I will go over that within the technique part of your, the technique sheets have all the terms and making sure that they understand. When they sight read, if it comes up allegretto, I will say, what does allegretto mean? And they can't answer. I say, okay, well, this allegretto is slower than allegro. And what you have to do is, if you can't answer that question in the next week, then you will have to write it 10 times for your homework assignment. And I make them write that and send that in to me. So they know the next time if I ask, that's what they have to do. And if they don't do it, they do it in their lesson with me. So I'm pretty tough with definitions. They all know that. Chords, especially 7th chords, they need to be correctly aligned. I'm going to go over that if we have time, but I'm going to try to concentrate on the lower levels right now. This is how I teach the circle of fifths. I don't teach it the normal way where these are enharmonic on the bottom. I do that for a reason because I want them to understand. Let's see if I could get this going here that I can draw easily. Okay, so this is C, this is G, this is D, this is A, and the way I teach it is, you know, I make sure, sorry, E, this is B, this is F sharp, and this is C sharp down here. I think it can't show because it's kind of big. But basically, I say, okay, C is the king of the circle. Then we go this way, and how do we do that? we use whole, whole, half, whole. And then they learn their 5-finger patterns, and as they learn their 5-finger patterns, they are learning whole, whole, half, whole going this way. Then 1 sharp. What are the order of sharps? So I teach them the order of sharps. F, C, G, D, A, E, B. A lot of kids don't realize that there's 7 sharps and 7 flats going this way. Sorry, going this way. This way are the sharps, and this way are the flats. So it's just backwards. And then I tell them, G major has 1 sharp, it's F. D major has 2 sharps, it's F and C. And that's how we learn our 5-finger patterns, and as we learn our 5-finger patterns, that's how we learn our scales and our keys. Okay, for prep level, it's basically these keys, and they teach them how to draw the circle of fifths for prep level. For level 2, it's basically these keys, right? And so they learn the circle of fifths. Even though they don't know the entire circle, they can still learn the circle of fifths. Okay, I'm just going to go on to show you how, eventually, how do we do the flats? Well, before I show them how to do the math on the circle of fifths, I tell them, going from C backwards, we use the whole, half, whole, whole going backwards. So C, F, B flat, E flat, and then they learn on the piano how to go backwards, because a lot of them have to learn dominant 7s. What key does, F dominant 7 belong to? Well, they're not going to know it's B flat if they don't know how to do whole, half, whole, whole backwards. It's very important for them to be able to do that. G flat, this is C flat. Okay, now the way I tell them, this is how you're going to double check your answers for the circle of fifths. Okay, and each year they add more and more keys to their circle, right? And they do this once a day. So I tell them, the first thing you have to know is this: you have to create a triangle in the middle of your circle. C has 0 sharps and flats, there's 7 naturals. C sharp has 7 sharps, C has 7 flats. So that's how you know if you're correct. C, C, C. G has 1 sharp, it's F, and if you go across, 1 plus 6 is 7, G flat has 7 flats. So I say G flat has all these flats, B, E, A, D, G, C, except for F. So if I ever ask you, hey, what does G flat have? You have to know 6 plus 1. You know G major has 1 sharp, so you obviously know that 7 minus 1 is 6. Now you know that G flat has 6 flats. And then you just know which flats go where. 2 plus 5 is 7. D has 2 sharps. D flat has 5 flats. A and A flat, 3 sharps, 4 flats. E and E flat, 4 sharps, 3 flats. B, 5 sharps, 2 flats, and F sharp, 6 sharps, 1 flat. And that's how they double check. And then we do the same thing for the minors. Okay, so like for level 1, they have to learn A minor, so I just have them write the little A in there. This is what they do for level 1, or whatever it is that they have to do for level 1. But that's very important for them to be able to do that.
Especially with my little one.
Yeah. All right, so anyway, I'm going to clear all of that, and we're going to go on to show you other things. This is a little sheet that I put together for everyone so that I could see where everyone is at the workshop. I'm having one. I usually have one every year. This year we're going to do our first one Zoom online, and I'm going to try to do it, prep through 2 is beginning piano, 3 through 5 is intermediate, And then you've got advanced from 6 through 10. And then most of the kids at level 10, they've all been exempt. So I don't really have a lot of level 10 students after that. But it's important to have a review, and a lot of them come in for just a review. It's pretty cool. Progress report and audition evaluation, I put their information down and I talk to them about sight reading and, you know, level. I give them the truth. You know, here's your you know, truth, where you are, technique, assignments completed each week, circle of fifths, have you done this, blah, blah, blah. And then I have the parents sign it so that they understand where they are at the point that they are in. All right, now I'm going to this is really where I wanted to start the lecture today. If you all have a syllabus, this is what I do. At the beginning of the year, I print out whatever level they're doing for the syllabus. And as they learn, I basically, let's see if I could do this. I basically highlight, I don't know if I can highlight, like if I've taught them F through G, I will highlight this, can't really highlight, but I will highlight that, and that's how I know what I've taught them the week before. And then I continue highlighting until they've learned whatever it is that they need to learn every single week. And so they bring in their technique sheet. But what's really important about this technique sheet is the theory requirements are all here. I make them read it, I make them highlight whatever they don't understand, and we go over it. No one sees fractions, sorry, here, right? So I tell them there are no fractions right from the beginning, prep level, right from the beginning. When they play this, I teach them to say 1, 5, 1 as they play. So I basically have them play their scale, and then I have them play this immediately after. And then I have them play G, and I have them play this immediately after. It teaches them the proper way of learning the technique. Okay, going on, this is the terms. You know, these are all the terms for prep level. And in addition to that, I give them this list of terms, which is also in your syllabus.
Yeah.
And then I tell them, you know, here are the first 3 levels on page 1, pretty much. And, you know, you save this for the next 3 years, you know, prep 1, 2. And these are all the terms you need to know from the beginning, okay? Going on. This is a practice test 2019 that I purchased. And this is how I teach the circle. When they get to this point, I have them draw their circle of fifths. And I tell them, let me do it here, sorry, I have to do it here. So on Zoom, you can actually use this great circle. And then you can just do 0, 1, 1. This is the sharp side of the world. The sharps go up, sharps go to the right, flats go to the left. You know, this is C, this is G, using your 5-finger pattern, and this is F. It takes 2 minutes to learn that, teach that. Whole, whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. Teach them that way, and they will never get this wrong. They'll go, oh, okay, well that means this, and this means this. Yahoo! Done. Okay, going on. Sorry I'm going fast, but I want you to get as much as you can. Basically, this is the other thing, the circle of fifths. They can do the scale now, but the way I do it is, even if they've drawn a circle of fifths, I have them write the flat that goes here, and I have them write the sharp that goes here. And then after I have them do that, I have them put it into the actual, you know, scale, and then I have them cross this out. That's how I teach it. So this one obviously is G, and that's from the circle of fifths, so they have to be able to do that. They have to look at the circle and know what that is. And even if they know what it is, I still want to see that they're using the circle. Okay, going on. I don't use ands, by the way. I don't use ands for,
Why?
in fact, I think Morton Lauritsen taught me that as well, I'm pretty sure. I use plus signs. It's just easier for the kids to draw. They can't, at prep level, some of them are 5 years old, you know. They're not going to be able to draw an ant.
You just don't use the ampersand sign. I get it.
Yeah. Right. Okay, and then I guess that's it for this. I don't know why I had this on here, but that's okay. All right, level 1. Theory requirements. This is very important that they, let's see here. For the keys, where does it say? Major and minor block, 5-finger patterns, scales. These are the scales you need for level 1. So that's what they're learning on their circle of fifths. They're going to be able to draw a circle of fifths with those keys on it. Okay? The way I teach the technique is I will have them play the scale, and then I will have them learn the cadence. So after the scale, I have them learn the cadence, and I actually have them say it out loud. So I don't use 4 or 5, but I tell them it could be anything 5. It could be 2-5, 3-5, 4-5, 5-5. It could be Linda 5. I don't care what it is, as long as it ends on 5. It's a half cadence. But for the purposes of level 1 technique, I teach them the 5. I do not teach them the 7th because they don't know what a dominant 7th is at that level. No way. No way. So I don't teach the 7th, and I don't teach it in common tone for level 1. I teach it in root position because I think they'll benefit from that the best. And after they play their scale, I tell them to say half cadence. Then they say 1, 5. Then they say authentic cadence, and they play 5, 1. Then they say plagal cadence, 4, 1, and they play it. And then I talk about the circle of fifths because I talk about F. Why is the 4 not a B? Why is the 4 a B flat chord versus B? Well, because, and then we go back to the circle of fifths. I mean, the circle of fifths is huge. It's so important, you know, when teaching technique, theory, all of it. C major, same thing. I play the chords after. G, I play the chords after. And then I have them play this last. And then we add this to the circle of fifths. And I talk about relatives and how D minor is relative, and I put that in the circle of fifths. So as we talk about it, we add to the circle of fifths constantly. Okay, going on. This is a great tool for them. They have to know all of this. This is a great tool for you to be able to quiz them on things. Okay. Signs and terms again. Ear training. Here's the ear training. You know, you basically have everything here. You could be quizzing them every time, every lesson. Do you hear major versus minor? Look on your Perfect Ear app. Have you studied? They have broken chords in the Perfect Ear app. One thing I love about the Royal Conservatory, one of the things in the earlier levels is they play a broken chord, you know, da da da, and then what they do is they'll play one of those notes after, so they'll go like da 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 bum, and then you have to say it's the 5th of the chord, or they'll go da 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 bum, oh, it's the root of the chord. So you're constantly knowing where the root, the 3rd, and the 5th is in the chord. It's a great tool. I think, you know, use the app. It's a wonderful app, and it's free. Okay, going on.
Reiterate again how to access that, Linda?
It's through your app store.
Oh yeah, I can get it in my app store. Okay.
Yeah, let me see if
I'll check it out. That's fine. I just want to know if it's there.
I don't know if, let's see if it's available online.
Well, I'll do it. Go on with your thing. I'll check it out. Thanks. I don't want to.
I just want to show everybody because it really is a good. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is it. So oh yeah, it is. So here it is. This is what it looks like, everyone. This is the Perfect Ear app that I use.
Okay, great.
That's what it looks like. And it's just wonderful. I just adore it. Anyway. All right, going on. Sorry. Let's see here. I think we're on this one. Going on. This is now level 2, I believe. I'm pretty sure this is level 2 or level 1. Let's see. No, we're on level 1. This is an example of a level 1 test theory for 2019, right? So you have key signatures in the first page, right? And I tell my students, I do not want to see anything wrong on the first page. I mean, you cannot get anything wrong on the first page. That is just embarrassing. So what they do is they do what? They write their circle of fifths, they draw it on the test somewhere, either in the beginning or, sorry, I'm trying to get this down. So I can annotate. And I have them draw it here. And I have them draw the C and the G and the D, and the F. And then have them draw their 0 and their 1 and their 2. And then they look at this and they go, okay, F has 1 flat, here it is. C has, nothing, it's there. G is 1, blah, 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 and that's how they do it. And then over here, they use it for the scales. So they say, okay, D has F and C, father cuts, and then they put it here, and then they put it here, and then what do? They cross it out because that is their double checking that they have done it. That is a test taking strategy. They really need to do that. Okay, going on. That's what we do for all of them. They put the letter here that's flat or sharp, and then they go in. Now, circle the primary triads. There are 3. They need to know 1, 4, and 5, and that's pretty simple at this point. And they're doing that in their techniques, so they know what that is already. Okay, going on. This is level 1 for the Royal Conservatory. I really, really like the way they teach rhythms. They actually circle the rhythms, so the beats, so that it's clear where to put their bar line. So they circle it and they put the bar line. So I do that with the higher levels too. Here, I'm going to go on here. I love Royal Conservatory as well because they teach you exactly which line to put the rests on. One second. Can you get here? I'm in the middle of a meeting. Okay, well, can you please? Sorry, my dog is, my dad, I tell him to come at 12 and he comes right at 12. He's 93. Anyway.
My dog's barking at your dog.
I'm sorry.
No, that's right.
So the rest is, taught where to be put. So this is a whole rest. This is, and half rests are on the 3rd line. I love that they teach that there. So that's how I teach rhythms. Let's see. I give bonus questions for all the levels. Like for instance, the English meaning is, very soft, the Italian word versus the English meaning, because sometimes they ask that in the question and young kids can't determine that, right? You have to read that question 3 times and then you have to determine what exactly they're asking. Are they asking the English meaning or are they asking for the Italian word? You know, so then I teach, you know, write in the counts for the following rhythms. You know, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. I mean, I'm actually teaching them how to see the pulses clearly before writing in the counts, right? Here, I actually write them above so that they see the pulse. Whenever there's a dot, I teach them to write the pulses on the dot. So for instance, if it's a dotted quarter note, I teach them that a dotted quarter note are 3/8 notes. You have to write this above a dotted quarter note at all times because you have to feel this second beat even though it's not there, and you always need to do that in a rhythm. So I make them do that. If it's a dotted 8th note, I teach them to draw the 3/16 up on the top because I tell them a dot is worth 3 of something. So you have to know those 3 things. Okay, dynamics, that's also a new term. That's dynamics and accidentals are on the addendum. They're on the addendum for things that they left out in the syllabus, and that you can find online as well. So you need to know what dynamics are, the definition of dynamics, and the accidental. I'm gonna have my dad say hi. Tata, come and say hi to all the teachers. Anyway, so ear training evaluation, I have them, you know, we go over this. We go over all the different things like for level 1, for prep level. Actually, I don't think in prep level they're giving the actual intervals yet, but I always tell them they're going to match an ugly dissonant interval with a nice interval. So if it's not ugly, if it's not a major 2nd or a major 7th, it's probably something very nice, like a 3rd or a 5th, right? Okay, so that's going on. Level 2. Same thing. Now we're doing, you know, scales, and I make sure that with these scales that they continue with the progression after. We always do that. Now, in CM, they tell you you could do block chords with the use of the common tone, like 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, but I always do the bass line. And I always teach the left-hand bass line first. You know, 1 is G, 4 is C, 1 is G, 5 is D, 1 is G. And then I tell them the left hand dictates what the right hand is telling you to play. So basically, if 1 is G, then what are you playing in the right hand? The 1 chord. If it's 4 in the left and it's C, what are you playing in the right hand? What are the notes of a C chord? And then they know and they understand common tone that way. I never, never, never give my students a picture of the progressions. They have to work for it, they have to know what they're playing, and then they have to, I show them one, and their homework is to figure out the other. I show them this one, they have to figure out the others. That's how I do it.
Linda, I have a question.
Yes, honey.
What do you mean the other? You have to give the first and then the other. You are talking about inversions?
I teach them the inversions based on, you know, the left, because if they don't understand the left hand, how the figured bass works, they're not going to know that that's dictating the right hand, what they're playing in the right hand, right? So I teach them how to play the progressions based on the left hand. So I know in the past when I was taught progressions, my teacher just gave me a picture of the progression. I don't do that. I make sure they understand how to build a progression from scratch on their own, and then they figure out how to play the rest of them. I don't spend time teaching them progressions. Meaning I teach them one, they come back with the homework. Are you understanding that, or should I go?
Right. So in other words, progression, like from 1 to 4, are you talking about like you have to keep the common tone for the C major, for example?
No,
C,
I'm
G, and
I'm just talking about the left hand. So the left hand, I just play a C, a note, a G for one, a note, just one note G, and then I go to C, and then I go to G again, then I go to D, and then I go to G. Meaning the left hand figured bass is teaching them what to play in the right hand. So if G is played in the left hand, then they have to play a chord. I could do another lecture on that, but I'm going to keep going because
sure, yeah.
we have a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to cover
That's
some more
interesting.
things.
No, it's okay. Thank you, Linda. It's okay.
Yeah. Going on, tonality, again, here's the new for the circle of fifths. What do we have? We have a lot more now for the circle of fifths, but I'm adding to the circle of fifths. By level 3, most of my students know the entire circle of fifths. By level 3, they have to. It's just part of the process. I can't keep reteaching that every year. They should know it. Augmented, let's see. Okay, so that's that for that. Let's see, let's keep going so you understand what's here. Going on. More terms, more ear training. Circle of keys, I put this in the packet because this is a nice way for them to practice the order of sharps, right? A lot of kids don't know the order of sharps and the order of flats. So I put this in there. And this is a nice way to teach them what the enharmonic keys are and how they work, right? So that's another nice way. However, I don't teach this way first because I want to make sure they understand the 7 on this side and the 7 on this side, right? I give them, in the back of the theory books, in the back of the Julie Johnson books, there are, there are blank music staff sheets. You can easily create your own worksheet that they have in their book. When they get to level 2, I do not have them do lesson 1 until they do 10 order of flats and 10 order of sharps. And I write it in their book. Okay? What do we do for page 1, everybody? Circle of fifths. They now know the minors. They now know A minor is related to, C. They know that what's raised? The 7th. And I tell them, what do we do to this note? Do we lower it? No, we raise it. And then I talk about that accidental chart, the double flat, the flat, the natural and the sharp and the double sharp. And I say, if this is a flat, what do we do to raise it? Do we make it a sharp? No, we make it a natural. But they can't see it unless they know how to draw that chart. Okay, so that's for the higher levels, but not for this one. And they have to put in like D major equals F sharp, C sharp. They put in the F sharp, they put in the C sharp, they cross it out. B flat major, B and E, they put in the B, they put in the E, they cross it out. That's the way to teach scales. I did a really simple search on drawing key signatures. I found this little worksheet. It looked pretty cool. So I put it in here. I'm going to give this to my students this week. I think they need to know how to do this. And if they don't know the order of sharps, this is a great way to teach them. And even in the early levels, prep level, level 1. One thing about dominant, the word dominant, okay, please don't let your students say that that's a V. This is not a V. This is a 5.
5 in Roman, sure.
Right. But a lot of kids say V. Oh, the V chord. No, it's the 5 chord. Dominant means 5. It's the 5th of the key. That's the only place you're going to find the dominant, on the 5th, not on the V.
Schools
When they
don't teach
have-
Roman numerals anymore, so that's
Well, it's
important.
up to us. It's up
Exactly.
to us. Okay, D major. What you're going to do here is you're going to actually have them write in the letter names of each chord first, okay? You can talk to them about how, like, you know, here they're here, right? The Roman numerals are here, but in the higher levels, they should write in all the notes, and then they should, because a lot of kids get confused with this. They think that that, you know, sometimes is a fourth, but it's sometimes not a fourth, right? Sometimes it's 5/1. But they have to actually write in the letter names and then determine what the chord is against the key, and then they have to identify what the the cadence is. I tell them though, and I ask them, I say, if it's a 1 at the end, your chances it being a 4 and a 5 are great. If it's a 5 on the end, what is it? Half. I mean, they have to understand that, right? And endings and things like that. Here's the biggest problem for this level. Again, it's this one. Okay, so what do? They draw the 3/8 notes at the top. This is worth 1.5, and here's your other half, right? And there is your 2 beats. But they can't see it unless they draw the 3/8 notes at the top of the dot. Okay, going on. Here are my level 2 bonus questions. English meaning, Italian word for PP again. A lot of kids do not know that 6/8 is in 2. It's in 2, okay? And when you teach them how to clap this, you have to teach them with 2 hands, right? And you teach them, you know, that the pulse is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But you teach them, like in Royal Conservatory, you have to start with the beat in your foot or either in your hand, and then you're reading with your other hand. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you teach them. It's in 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. A lot of people don't realize that 6/8 is in 2. That is a really important thing. These are also on the addendum that I took from the addendum to the levels, dynamics, accidentals, and then the sforzando. Level 3, same thing. I go from the scale to the progression, scale to the progression, scale to the progression. I do not teach the 5/7 at this level. I teach the 5/7 at the level 4 level. Because that is appropriate. It's in the theory at that point, and that's when I teach the 5/7. I don't teach that. Now we're adding, for the circle of fifths, we're adding the A and the E and the D and E flat now. We're almost through the entire circle of fifths. Going on, that's your ear training. This is how clapbacks are learned in in Royal Conservatory. We play these twice and the kid claps it back, right? The student claps it back. But I make the student actually write and count these for themselves, and they have to be able to sight read how to count all of this, making sure that at every dotted quarter note that you have 3/8 notes above this so that they understand it's 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, and 3. So they learn all the dots properly, because that's a big deal. A lot of people don't even know that after 10 years of piano. Here are this is a level 3 exam. And again, now they're asking for minors. They're still not asking you to draw them in, but more scales, more keys, circle of fifths will help with that. Circle of fifths will also help with this, plus that accidental chart that I talked about. I always tell them, the bottom note tells you what key. So what key are you in? F. Is this one affected at all from the key of F? No, so it's major. This is the key of D. How many sharps? F is sharped, so that therefore it's a major third. What key are you in here? E. How many sharps? F, C, G, D. There's your D. It's major 7. And so forth. Okay? So that's very important. Going on. Here's my level 3 bonus questions. Again, pianissimo, they still don't know it, I think, at this point. Circling, circling helps with the writing. Here's my dotted question. Dynamics, accidentals, forzando, and then I have them write the following cadences. Here are the updates for the Basics of Theory 2007. This is the addendum that I'm talking about. Dynamics are added, accidentals, level 2. So you always want to check on the MTAC, like under your teacher portal, it talks about all of this, right? So anyway, this is, we've gone quite a bit over. I don't know how many of you I've lost, but I just got up to level 4. I have so much more to tell you because it's such a great thing to do. Dominant 7s are a huge thing. This is how I teach the primary triads, by the way, like in level 4. If I'm teaching it online, I will write, okay, what are the primary, in the technique, they have to play the primary triads for A, 1, 4, 5, and then they have to play the 2, 3, 6, 7. So basically what I do online is I say, okay, well, you should know the primary triads for A major, and then they find it, A major, D major, E major, knowing that A major has how many sharps? 3. Then I talk about the secondary triads. They have a bigger problem with that. So I tell them, well, what are the notes for the second chord of A? B, D, F. And then I put down B, D, F. And then I say, well, what key are you in? I'm in the key of A. So then I have them circle the sharp on their end. You can circle it. You can use your Zoom to let them circle things and be involved. And they circle all the sharps that go into the primary and secondary triads, and then they play them themselves. And then now they're not just copying what you say, they actually understand that in the key of A there's 3 sharps and those are applied to those chords. And they actually have an understanding and they can compose better using the secondary triads. They can do amazing things. And then for homework, and over here, I make them write the secondary triad. This is my student writing out her own letters and circling for the key of B flat, right? So she understands that and is putting that in. All right, so I think that was it. I didn't quite get to the dominant 7. I lost a few of you, but 21 of you are still here. So I hope you enjoyed that. I can do another one on a separate date if you're all willing. I would love to do it for like levels 5 through, 4, 5, and 6, and then 6 through advanced. That would be another day. Yes, Pat.
I have a question. Yeah, on when all through the Certificate of Merit materials,
yes,
when they speak of minor keys,
yes,
they use lowercase for the word minor,
yes,
and lowercase for the letter.
Right.
I do think that's more clear, rather than using uppercase letters for both major and minor.
Right. I think in Royal Conservatory, the reason why they do that is because in all music, international music, they use uppercase in the titles for minor, and that's what they do. And when writing music, you have to use uppercase for minor and uppercase for the word minor in writing music. That's the proper way. That's how they teach it at USC for all the history classes. So.
Well, I don't agree.
Well, I think because, CM, well, CM is a version of the RCM, right? Exams, and it's taken from the RCM exams. It's like I want to say it's a edited version of the RCM exams, but Royal Conservatory has always taught, keys, major and minor with the capital A and then the lowercase major, and then the capital A, and then the lowercase minor. CM will accept anything. So.
Well, I know, but when you're speaking of a minor key, if you use both lowercase for the letter and the word, whether you use just an M or MIN period or the whole word minor, I just really think it's more clear. If you use the lowercase letter and the lowercase word. Or,
yes. And I separate that. I mean, I tell the kids, you know, the way you do it in the Julie Johnson theory book, let's keep it that way for CM, you know, but for RCM, we have to revamp our thinking, because I don't want, because in RCM, they will take points off for that. Versus CM, they won't take points out for that. Yes, Mira. Oh, you're muted, honey. You have to unmute. Yes. Oh, still muted.
Did I do it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. So I just wanted to ask you to send us a link, or how would we help kids to get the app? So that's my point, because once I have it, they can really train themselves, or siblings can help. So just the app for ear training and those terms, Italian terms, and
yes, I can send you my worksheets. If you would like the worksheet from this, please just send me an email and I'll send you the file. It's big. I don't know if your computer will allow it. It's a big file. I have 183 pages in there, I think, or 180 something. I don't know. It's huge. I don't know. But I will give you my file for sure, and I will answer any questions you have. You know, I'd be happy to.
Thank you, Linda. One more question, and that all bothers me. So for technique that we will get to the CM, kids already have their technique ready and they're videotaped already. And the CM says it's optional from what they're gonna give us, the link for technique, the chart, so they can play by the chart they are giving us on the frame from 5th to 15th. So it says optional what they're gonna give us. So with the point that they already have their technique videotape, so how would I send them what they already have? Is it on the same frame? Do I have to go to the technique?
I honestly don't know how the uploads are. I mean, that would be a
technique. It should be available from March 5th to the 15th. That's when you can upload the technique.
Yeah.
Okay. So whatever they have, not what they give us. The chart they will.
The chart, I don't know why they even include that, because it was very confusing. I agree with you.
I know.
But it's just optional. Yeah. It's just optional. Yeah.
Kids are panicking, like when they're gonna learn maybe it will be a little different. I said, don't panic, just do whatever you
No, it won't be different, right, Asuka? It's not gonna be different.
No, yeah.
They wouldn't do that. They have not updated the the syllabus. So don't worry about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Thank you so much, Linda.
Any other questions?
I have one, Linda.
Sure.
And I had to walk away for like 1 minute. So if you happen to talk about this during that time, just, you know, tell me. But what do you call a chord that is built on the 7th step of a major key?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So there are the Royal Conservatory will call, let's say, the natural minor, the 7th of the natural minor, the subtonic. Okay, because it hasn't been raised. But the leading tone is always, you know, from the major key, the 7th in a major key, and also the harmonic or the melodic, right? If you're building, it's the leading tone, right? If it's not though raised, then it's the subtonic. Yeah, but it's very important to teach that chord when you teach. Like, I think it's level 6 or level 7 when they teach the diminished 7ths chords with the dominant 7ths. That's very important, because that's how composers end, you know, they're very strong endings, 7, 7 to 1 or 7 to 1 versus 5, 7 to 1. So that's really, really important. I hope I answered your question.
Really?
She kind of froze. Uh-oh, I lost her. Maybe she'll come back. I don't know. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed it.
Yes,
And
thank you.
I will put this on the website if you'd like, so you can review it. And I will also offer another class if anybody wants to do it. If I'm the only one talking to myself, I'll do that. But
One more question.
Sorry.
I have one more question. Which came first, the Royal Conservatory theory or the MTAC theory?
Royal Conservatory. Royal
It's
Conservatory.
old. Oh, it is older than MTAC's.
Yes, the
Syllabus.
MTAC took most of our knowledge from that. Yes.
We are using certificate of merit theory, right?
I'm sorry?
We are using the certificate of merit theory, tests and questions and things and material.
Yes, that's true. But the question came up when referring back and forth between what Royal Conservatory does, and I wanted to know which one was the older system.
Oh, it's definitely Royal Conservatory.
What are we using?
I have a question.
Well, the CM theory will accept way more than the Royal Conservatory theory will.
Oh, but we're
it's a lot more. It's a lot more strict as far as answers go. Like even to the point where they're drawing dotted quarter notes on the staff or dotted eighth notes, and even to the point where that dot goes. I mean, they take off points for even where the dot goes. I mean, you have to get to know how to really write music. And I could go over how they teach rests. I mean, that is huge. We don't really go over rests the proper way to align rests and to really teach the difference between 3/4 time and 6/8. That's a huge discrepancy as far as I'm concerned. And the way Royal teaches it with the tapping and the clapping together is very important. Yeah. Yes, Beth?
Yes, yes. So in reading these things that are going to be on the new online test, they say there's going to be a lot less questions. I think in advance they said instead of 188, there's going to be 100.
Yes.
Have we any idea, not exactly what they're leaving out, but there is any idea what their major emphasis will be on?
Yeah. No. Maybe we'll get more next year, you know, and, you know, it's, you know, definitely the timed part worries me. The timing worries me. That's why I'm timing my students, you know, and we're having a workshop. And if anybody would like to come to my workshop on Monday, I would more than happy be willing for you to come and sit in as a teacher and watch, you know. So if you would like to, you can send me, I can send you the link to that as well. You can just send me an email.
And will your timing then be on your copy of the 2019 test?
I won't test them with that one. I'm going to test them with some other year, because they took the 2019 before last year, so they're familiar with the test.
Okay.
So I'm going to give them something really old, something that they have no idea, and they'll be shocked, but they're going to have to know what it is because they have to know, you know.
Okay.
Did anybody get a copy of the 2020 tests before the store closed down?
No, there's no 2020 test because it was online.
That's 19.
There's no paper you can buy for that. I don't know. Maybe there's an online version, but I don't think so.
I think we received the physical test, but we're not, you know, we're obviously not allowed to distribute it.
Oh, we did?
the CM committee received it.
Oh.
But then we got shut down literally the day before we were gonna administer.
That's funny.
Online store is closed right now.
Yeah, it's closed.
I did have a question, Linda.
Yes.
If one day you could do like an advanced level workshop. That'd be
Oh,
really
sure.
helpful.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to. I just think it's important to do the early ones because we need to know how to get these kids up to par online, you know? So that's why I focused on that. But I'd love to do that. So, you know, just let Emily or I know what you would like. I'll offer one and see who shows up. And we'll do that. We'll do that. Hopefully before
maybe
CM.
8, 9, and 10.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yes, that would be amazing.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah.
I also think every one of us could offer like a 5 or 10 minute sharing on what has really been effective in working in our personal discoveries. I think the greatest resources are our own membership.
Absolutely.
There are people here that just have great ideas. And
yeah, absolutely. We should have that. We should have that instead of a guest speaker. We should all be doing that, you know?
In addition to it, like, I mean, you were absolutely fantastic, Linda, but there were like 5 or 6 times I wanted to jump in with the parentheses. Have you tried this to enhance
well,
this?
everyone, I'm sure had, that's why
everyone,
just said,
and I would love to hear those little addendums from everyone else who's found those gems of things that work. You know, like for just one quick example, intervals I found were difficult for students to learn, and especially on piano, until I taught them that there was a game of leapfrog on the piano. And then that just clicks right away, and we literally physically do leapfrog. And you know, little things like that. And I want to hear all your leapfrog ideas from everybody else that they found works.
Right. Well, everybody, I have an appointment at 1, and my dad's been sitting here, so I'm
like on chips.
Yes. But thank you for staying with me and encouraging me. And I love that you all listened, and I hope you all learned something valuable or new. I'm glad you were here, and thank you for being great teachers, and I'll see you all soon.
Thank you for sharing, Linda.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.